Yeah.
Just, should we do it? Good, yeah. And we are on TV. Hi, Mom. Yeah, that's what they always do. It's so hard somehow. Always the mothers get it.
Always the mom gets it.
Always the mom gets the credit. Never hi, Dad.
Oh, Bas, I liked your post about the children of the corn.
Oh, yeah.
I keep thinking about that and laughing.
Children of the corn. Yeah, we're live. It's working.
Oh, look who's number one. He got the number one spot.
Oh, wow, look at them. Again. Yeah. What's up?
Okay.
Red. Okay,
Hi,
questions
Randy.
are coming in. Yeah.
Hi, Chris.
That's
Can
right.
I ask questions yet? Yeah, you can start asking questions.
Yeah. Chris asked a question. I had a long night yesterday, long day yesterday, so I had to force myself out of bed this morning. I'll do it.
There's a long one. Okay.
Oh.
Actually, okay, here's our first one. Bas, do you use CBD oil for recovery,
Yes, I do.
etc.? I use it too.
Yeah, I do it. I use it a lot. Oh, man. I don't know which one you use. You know, I'm working with Receptra, and they're really good. I think it was over yesterday. They had 2 days that it was 25% off. What I can try to do is see if they do it again. Even the stuff now without the THC, which I previously always said that it doesn't work as well for me, because with the CBD, it's together in the plant, and because it's together in the plant, I think you should keep it together, not in large quantity. I'm talking about 1/3 of 1%, like 0.3% CBD if that's in there. They used to always work for me, but last time I was walking with a dog, and I swear to God, and I took the completely THC free one. And I got to tell you, and you can ask my wife, I might still have it on the security camera footage. I come back, I go, man, it felt like I was walking on something soft. Like my knees were really tight. So I take my statement that I said CBD without the THC, that doesn't work as well. It worked really well for me. And the Receptra, that's the brand I'm working with. I'm just throwing it out there so that I at least know that one is a good one. All right, next.
All right. How would you have prepared to fight Mirko Cro Cop?
Mirko Cro Cop. Ooh. Run really fast now. Well, when we both would have been in our prime, I would, move a lot to the left. That's what I'm going to do. And Gonzaga, he had a very smart game plan with him as well. What he was doing, at first I was wondering, what is he doing the whole time? Why is he doing? He was throwing right straights in front of him, in front of his face, nonstop, and even like far away. So he would miss him by a foot. And I go, why is he doing that? And I go, oh man, that is really smart. He is showing Cro Cop that if he comes with the left kick, I can punch you in the face. So if you start throwing right straights now, here and then, that might stop him from loading up and coming with the big left kick, because he can be countered with the right straight. So that will be one of my game plans as well. And then, wow. Yeah, that's a hard one. That's going to be a really tough fight. But I'm telling you right now, moving to the left is very important. I think also another thing is that left kick, I would preferably let him miss, of course, but you need to counter it, because if you can't counter it, you're going to have such a big problem with him. I mean, so maybe a block and right away come back with the right kick, or come back right away, come back with the right straight. But, you need double blocks because it's the power lag coming from the back. That's why moving to the left will take a little bit of steam out of that. I always tell those people, that's actually, it's a good question, yeah. I can show this real fast. We'll do that with Dinah. You can kick, middle kick, right? We didn't warm up, that's why I'm saying it.
Yeah.
This is actually a drill in my class. So when she wants to kick me, her focus is going to be this target, to kick this target. So as soon as she kicks me, I just simply jump to the side. You'll take 90% power out of the kick. Because if she wants to kick here and I step to the side, now the focus is here, so you're going to miss. So we do this a lot in class. When I tell people to grab a leg, I said, don't let her kick and then grab a leg, because again, guys like Mirko Cro Cop, it will break your ribs. Yeah, you have his leg, but now you got broken ribs, so that's maybe not a good thing to do. But we simply, to show, I always put my feet next to each other, I tell her she can kick as hard as she wants. And then I just move to the side. And as soon as I move to the side, all the steam is out of it. It's like just getting outside the range. So that I would do a lot with Cro Cop, moving to this side, because I will take the steam, of course, out of the left kick. All right, so movement to the side, then grabbing if you want to grab a leg. Don't just stand there and grab the leg. You can do that with the left leg if they're orthodox, because it doesn't have any power on it. You can grab the leg. You're strong enough for that. But when it's a southpaw kicking in with the left, no, move to the side. That's why I also said with inside low kicks, I jam them and I come back. But I always say with this, don't do that with the southpaw, because that's just power lag, so you're going to be in trouble.
Who's your current favorite UFC fighter?
Man, that's such a hard question because there's so many good ones. The Stylebender, I like him a lot. Max Holloway, I'm always a big. All these guys. I mean, the talent nowadays, it's completely different than when I was fighting. I mean, all these guys now know pretty much everything. And if they're a really good striker, they have really good grappling, or a really good takedown defense, so they can keep it on their feet. And other guys are like Damian Maia. I was just talking about that last session. Coming in there and saying that he wants to show the world that he can still win by using Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu alone. And he's doing it, I think that is pretty remarkable because also he's getting on at age, but this guy just keeps on fighting. He's just an incredible fighter. So, yeah, it's a hard question because I like a lot of fighters.
Off topic, do you speak Dutch at home?
Yes.
That's a cute one.
Yes, because my wife is Dutch, so we speak Dutch at home, which we should officially do because for the kids it's a nightmare because they understand it, but our grammar is built different. So everybody in our house, English is not their best subject. Let me tell you that.
Okay. Bas versus Jones. Who wins?
John Jones. Oh, see, man. In my prime, now I'm going to get slaughtered at this moment because, of the training. In my prime, listen, I'm always saying that I'm going to win. I'm never going. I think it is very unhealthy for a fighter to go to a fight thinking that there's a possibility of losing. I think as soon as you take on a fight, you're going to have to be 100% convinced that you're going to win. Now, in the beginning, you won't have that. And I purposely don't do that. But I always think that they train harder than me, because that makes me train really hard. But as soon as I go to the fight, the only thing I think about is that I'm going to win. A little 1%, 2% doubt is already not so good for you, I think. So I would always say I win. And then we'll see what the outcome is because, let's face it, he's a freak. Then again, and I mean it in a good way, freaky athletic. Then again, I always was very light, like for my UFC for the title fight, I was 197 against Reynolds. I actually had to gain weight drinking water, had to go over 200 pounds because otherwise it wouldn't be a title fight. You see, so I might, and I never cut weight, I never tried anything. I might fight at 185 if I would fight now. Because if you see John Jones, I mean, if he stands next to me, and Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell, they're big guys. They're like 6'2", 6'3". I'm 6 feet tall. So to overcome that, I might go to 185. I think that would be a good weight class for me because I think I can make that easy.
Mm-hmm. A lot of questions relating to this in your fighting career. What was your favorite fight, maybe second to Funaki?
Oh.
Or maybe that wasn't your favorite one. What?
Yeah, no, Funaki was my favorite one because, I really set it up. I don't know. That's such a hard question. I did my 2 fights with Yamada Manabu. I mean, Yamada Manabu just fought Ken Shamrock for 30 minutes and Ken couldn't get him in the submission. Then I had to fight a guy and I caught him in a side choke with a little trick that I use. And I got him. And it was like a minute, 10 seconds. So then, of course, he got angry after the fight. And he said I was lucky and he wanted to fight again. I said, sure, man, we'll fight again. And then I beat him in 55 seconds. So I said, you want to do this again now? And that was a toe hold. That was actually a really cool one. So you can find those fights on my YouTube channel. It's all free. Yamada Manabu, that's his name. I fought him twice. Watch the first one and watch the second one. The second one is actually really cool the way I do it because I'll bring his foot with my foot towards me and then it's very hard to explain like this. But if you see the fight, you can take a look at it. Mm-hmm. So fights like that I like because people, they come and they think that it can be, like for instance, also against my fight against Shibuya, it's his name. The first time I broke a sternum here from rotating and apparently it cracked. It's really weird because now it's always sticks to the front because they pull it out to the front. And that was a draw. And then everybody said, oh, he would have beaten him. And so I asked Pancras to fight him again right away, which they allowed me like 2 fights later, I think, 1 or 2 fights later. And that's when I told everybody in my dressing room that I was going to beat him with the Bas Rutten neck crank. Now, the name Bas Rutten neck crank, that's too fast because it's not really a neck crank. What I'm doing is I'm pressing all the air out of my opponent, and then he can't breathe in anymore. So if he just took a deep breath in and I put that lock on, he can hold it for as long as he can hold his breath. As soon as he empties his lungs, he cannot inhale anymore. That's what I'm doing. I'm stopping him from inhaling. Shall we see? Shall we try? I'm going to show you real fast. Listen, there's a lot of things to think about this thing, okay? So let's put the chairs a little bit to the side. I'm going to go a little bit to the ground here. Poor Dana's going to get it.
Right.
So you're on your back with your feet here, please. So it's going to start with a scarf hold. We need to go a little deeper here. Yeah, so I have a better view. Okay, let me get this chair out of the way so maybe it does something to the... All right, so it starts with a scarf hold. Scarf hold is this one. Now, scarf hold is pretty easy to reverse me if you know how to do it or to escape. There's a few ones. So let's go over it really fast. This is important because if you don't go over this, you cannot put the Bas Rutten neck crank on because he might reverse you right away. So what I'm always telling, I'm going to show it first raw. Okay, so now I'm just sitting here. Dana, put your belly against mine. Grab your hands together and now throw me over here. So that's the reverse. And this is Dana. How many pounds are you, Dana?
120.
120 pounds. I'm 210 pounds. And she just did that to me. So if she can do it, person from your own weight class can do it easy. So you want to stop that. I'm going to do it wrong again, just to get inside your head. Now she does it again. Whoop. Now I base out. You see, but now she can shoot underneath my armpit if she wants. Whoops. And then climb on my back. I had two guys with that, with a rear naked choke. Then I throw them, they post out, I shoot on the back and got them in a rear naked choke. In paper, so it works. So you need to stop that as well. So now what I'm doing, I'm grabbing a triceps here. So now she tries to reverse me. Boom, I'm posting out. Now she tries to get underneath my armpit. She can't because, and every time when she tries to, I've just closed the distance. I'm just walking towards the whole time so she can't go underneath my armpit. Now these three things you really need to know before you're going to do the Bas Rutten neck crank. The Bas Rutten neck crank is very simple. I'll explain to you literally in 5 seconds. A little bit more here. So, God gave us two handles here, I always say. If you stretch your leg, you bend it, and you flex, there's the tendon there, you can grab that thing, right? Or whatever they call it. So grab that. Then I look at the other leg. You need to find a good moment for this, of course. Grab this leg, and then if she stretches this leg so I can't bring it forward, I can bring my knee to my leg, to my head. You see? So I bring my knee to my head. Here also, I have the handle. Put the feet on the ground, and I'll just squeeze. That's it. I just squeeze this together. Jake Shields posted a video about it. He loved the thing as well. It's a very easy one. There are some things that you can try. For instance, she wants to throw her leg over my so she wants to throw her leg over my head. That might happen, right? So when you do it, this is what I'm going to do. I'm rolling into her and I put my head close to her head. So then she sees it's already pushing her. Mm-hmm. So keep your head very close to her head or his head. So make sure that they can catch the leg. But you have to work on it. First try, then go live with a partner and let this partner see if you can escape. And what can you do in order to stop that escape? It's an easy move. You're not hurting an opponent with it.
Nope.
And I actually want a professional fight with it. So it really, really works. So make sure that you know it. It will be cool.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I think Lee Mean, he won a fight with it in the grappling tournament. Lee Mean is one of my black belts. And he won a fight with it in the tournament. Boom.
Nice. Can you go into more technique about your liver shots?
Ooh, liver shot, yeah. Like I always say, I'm trying to dig it in, hit the body here, and try to come out on the shoulder blade here on that side. So I go diagonally through the body. That's how I try to explain it. A lot of guys just make a left hook, but what do I always say? Don't make a left hook, because if they simply pull the belly back, you're going to miss. But if you stab it in there, pretty much like it, so it's like a hook, uppercut, straight punch combination, you stab it in there, then it's very hard. Even if they move back, you can still nail them. The way I say it to people to get inside their heads, It's a really horrible way of explaining. Imagine you have a little punch knife sticking out of your middle knuckle here, right? A little knife. If I hit my opponent and I pull back, if that hole is as big as the knife is, you did the perfect liver shot. If I slice my opponent open and the guts fall on the ground, then it was a bad liver shot. Then you were spreading out the impact. So stab it in there. That's what I'm kind of doing. So think about that little knife. Make just a little hole, but don't slice the opponent open. That's what I would say.
All right. Why do you like to keep your feet on the ground with knees? And I think this also about the pivoting.
Good.
Because we got a lot of that too.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to have to show that. So, with the knees, right? Yeah. Let's get a little lower so you can see my foot.
Why do you keep the full foot on the ground, I think, versus coming up to the ball? Okay,
so if I would have Dana here, I'm showing you one. So if I would punch Dana with a straight punch, a right straight, and I'm walking in simultaneously, if I would do this, that would be a dumb thing for me to do because now I'm jamming myself. You know, the real power of a punch comes at the end of your punch. That's where the real power comes. So anything before that, you can stop it. That would be great. Now, if I do it, make a knee, and I go on the ball of my foot, if I make a knee to her body, and I go on the ball of my foot, I'm closing the distance. I'm doing the same thing what I just explained to you with the punch. Because if I'm having it here, and I'm doing, you see, so there's not enough space. This space, what I have here, and this, look how much it is. That's a lot of space. This is about, on a distance like this, that's at least 20%. So if I leave my heel on the floor, I have more space than when I do this. See, you have less space. The more space you have, the more space your knee has to pick up speed and pick up power. Now, if you just use your hip flexor, that will be good as well, because a lot of people also make a knee, when they throw it in, make a knee like this, and they kind of give them a thigh. But I always say give them a kneecap. You know, the kneecap wants to penetrate through. Now, the only time, of course, when I break this rule is when I want to knee her in the face, because then preferably I just want to pull her head down and then knee her in the face with my heel on the ground. But if it's here and you need to go for a high knee, needless to say, yes, then you're going to go on the ball of your foot to overcome that extra space that you need. But otherwise, keep your foot flat on the floor. This will give you more room for your knee, and it's going to be more explosive. And there was another one with pivoting?
Yeah, we had some last week about lots of questions about the pivoting, you know, with the hooks.
Yeah, I think
pivoting with the hooks.
No, pivoting with the hooks, like doing this. I'm not a big fan of it. I know a lot of people say that they're doing, and what I mentioned last week as well, you go on YouTube, there's a clip, 5 best left hooks in boxing history. I think that's the name of it. There you see guys like Tuat, Ali, Tyson, Morrison, all these guys with great big left hooks. And if you look at the footwork at the moment of impact, they're actually not pivoting. So they all say that they are doing it, but they don't do it in a fight. I always look at my big example, 2 of them I had. It was Ramon Dekkers for Thai boxing, and it was Mike Tyson for his stance and for his boxing and upper body rotation, because he's just really good with that. And if he doesn't pivot, guess what? I'm not going to be pivoting as well. I think a pivot, if you break it down, what they do is like you pivot, boom, and then you ricochet. That's the thinking way behind it. And with a leg, I can understand that because a leg is heavy, but an arm is not heavy. I think about giving somebody a left hook. The way I explain it with my students here, I say, imagine you have a metal bar here, and you cannot do this. There's no way that you can move your arm. The only thing you have to do now is this. That's how I develop power. Now, that's not completely true, of course. But if I do the whole explanation, then people don't get it. But if I do this first and I just let them hook like this, so they're one with the body, and if you're one with the body and your feet are on the ground, so your body weight goes into that punch. It's just a much harder punch. That's just physics. Nobody can beat that. It is. You know. Now, at the moment of impact, that officially that's when I like to push the power in. So that's the only moment. As soon as I connect, that's when I try to push in a little bit of my arm for more power, but at the very, very end. Also with pivoting, if you like things, shots like Mike Tyson used to do, liver shot, left uppercut, left hook, liver shot, left uppercut, 3 in a row. if you pivot on every punch, you're going to have to come back the whole time. Also, if you pivot and you miss, there's more chance of also overcommitting to a punch. All these problems can simply be gone by planting your foot on the ground and let your upper body do all the rotation. Plant them on the ground and let your upper body do the rotation. Now, are there fighters that knock people out with their pivot? Yes, there are. But I've been seeing way more knockouts without the pivot. So I base everything on that and on myself. Left hook liver was one of my favorite combinations, right? Left hook liver. And I try to load them up exactly the same. See what I'm doing? I'm showing my opponent what I'm going to do. Yes, I'm wide open right now, but trust me, I'm going to do this fast, so you're not going to counter. Plus, I throw this after a combination, right? So there's a left hook and then a liver shot. I did this so many times on the back. If you do with 2 pivots, it's going to take longer than when you simply plant your feet. So, and there's another one about that.
Well, while you're standing up, difference between a boxing slip versus an MMA slip. If there's a difference. No,
I don't think there is.
Not really? Okay.
A difference, yeah. Slipping, I really like. Bobbing, I'm not a big fan of. I wish I could do it better. That's what I say in my class. I'm so mesmerized with those the Mexican fighters, the Mexican boxers are really good with that. With their head movement, and they know when it's a hook and they know when it's a straight punch. They literally let the straight punches miss like this with a pop on the hook. I have a lot of respect for people like that who can do that.
Okay. And also similar difference between Dutch and regular Muay Thai.
Regular Muay Thai is, I think, way more kicking. There's a lot of kicking involved, single kicks. You see this a lot, right? A Thai gets kicked by a kick, and then they come back with this kick, and then he goes back with that kick again, and go bah, 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 back and forth. So when the Dutch, Jan Plas and Johan Vos, those were the 2 guys from Majiro Gym and Vos Gym, when they started, there's fighters that train guys like Milwell Goebli, Rob Kamen, André Brilleman, and there were the whole André Mannaert. There's so many fighters that came from their gym. What they started doing, they put Western boxing together with kicks. So when they went to Thailand, they started taking them with hands, and then they would wrap up their combinations with low kicks or with kicks in general. And that was the goal. That was apparently the blueprint to beat the Thais, because then the Dutch actually started beating the Thais. Then the Thais started picking up on that. This is like mixed martial arts almost, so they started getting boxers. They have Samart. He became a WBO boxing champion even, so they started focusing more on boxers. But those guys who did in Thai boxing in Thailand, they started excelling because now they had great hands and then they had great kicks. So I think that was the biggest difference. Right now, Dutch style kickboxing, I think it's pretty much done everywhere. Everybody knows this now. The cat is out of the bag. It's the same with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You don't have to go to Brazil anymore. You got it right here in America as well. And not only me, you got a whole... Actually, Anthony Hardog is very close to us. He has a gym in Santa Monica. He's a really great striker himself as well.
Similar to, back to the pivoting, what about pivoting on your cross? On the right straight?
All right. Yeah, the back foot, this is good, that's a good question. The back foot is my foot is always loose from the ground. Always here. If I go in attack mode, I put my heel behind my toes. And if I'm just walking, I'm walking like this. But most of the time when I go in an attack mode or in counter mode, you see me putting my heel behind the ball of my foot. Now that foot stays on the ground and this foot moves. But you have to, because otherwise you stationary, you lock yourself up. So that foot, the back foot, as long as it is on the ground, grabbing the floor. That's what I always say. Imagine this. Imagine you have a bag here, and you can strap both feet into the floor. They're locked into the floor, and now you can hit the bag. Can you visualize how hard you're going to hit? That's crazy, right? Because now you can really use the floor in order to put a lot of power in that punch, because they're locked into the floor. Well, that's the concept. If you understand that, why would you start pivoting now? Why would you lift up one leg? Because now I can't, if I have to push somebody, I'm going to push myself to the side. I can only push somebody to the side with 2 feet on the floor, because now I can push to the side. I could never do it with one foot. And it's the same with pushing somebody away. If my back foot is not on the floor, with somebody pushing away, I'm going to push myself backwards. So that means that, wait a minute, I'm pushing back. So, here is where my power comes from, the back foot, for my right, but also for my left punch. You see, I'm pushing off on the left and on the right. If I do my Bas Rutten workout, the audio workout, kind of what we're doing, 3 rounds or more rounds with the streaming workouts that we have, that's my only focus at all times. At all times, with every straight punch, I'm pushing off the back foot. I literally feel my foot putting a dent in this floor. Like, because this is a mat, I can do this. Every time when I give a straight punch, I feel my foot making a dent in the floor. You do that, you're going to be perfect. If you stand on your heel, you're going to use your thighs. You don't want to use your thigh muscles. They're way too slower than using your calves. That's why you're using the ball of your foot. You know, another explanation that I always use is the 100 meters. Do they start like this in the starting blocks, or they start with the foot in there? Of course they start with the foot in there because they have to go forward and use every single muscle in that back leg, or both legs actually, but the push-off leg, in order to pick up speed. And if you do that on your heel, then you're using your thigh. If you do it on the ball of your feet, now you're using your entire leg, your calves, your thighs, everything, so you're going straight forward. That's how I try to explain. Now, don't be worried if the foot is a little bit like this, not completely behind. That is not that bad, but completely behind is just better, I think.
A lot of questions about grappling. Can you maybe talk about your favorite grappling art, compare and contrast? What do you think's better? Wrestling, BJJ, judo, jiu-jitsu?
Oh, you know, I think the cat is out of the bag pretty much, right? Everybody knows now. There's a really good things from judo that you can use. There's really good from jiu-jitsu that you can use. There's really good from sambo that you can use. I mean, there's so many different grappling sports. But I never had a coach. I trained myself. The good thing about that is that I never had to pay homage to my coach, because some things I just think are not correct in submissions. For instance, I call it the reverse figure four, Kimura, right? Many times, they will tell you to keep this in a 90-degree angle while you're pushing it back. Well, if you do that, that's why everybody in the octagon or everybody in mixed martial arts simply stretches their arm, they're out. So I don't like to do that. That might work with the gi, because, you know, if you're sweating in the gi is a lot of traction, and then maybe you can control it better. But without a gi, no, you cannot control that. Everybody simply stretches their arm because they're powerful. So with me, Kimura is putting the back of my hand on my back, on my opponent's back. And once it touches there, and I pull also, because I gotta push and then pull them. And if I keep my guard very close, what I do with my guard at that moment I make a Kimura, I simply stretch my legs. Because if I stretch my legs and I'm above her hips, for instance, I'm locking up her hips. You see, because if I stretch, I'm closing the distance between my knee. So it's a real easy way to hook your feet and simply stretch your legs. Now you'll block the hips so she cannot jump out of the Kimura, because, of course, they need to push this hand up. But if I get up, you know, I go with the move, then I can escape. So if I stop them from doing that by squeezing my legs, stretching my legs, and making sure the hips stay low, then it works much better. But try this out, you know, put the back of the hand on the back of your opponent, and then pull and push. It's a pull and push. It's not only pushing, because a lot of guys focusing on the push, also focus on the pull. Pull and push.
All right. A lot of these, I think, could maybe go together. Do you recommend the O2 trainer? There was a long question from Paul about timing and hold. That's a little more specific. And how can you build stamina for a first fight?
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, I really, guys, go the O2 trainer. I bought one because everybody's always asking. I'm doing it at the highest setting right now. It literally takes me 2 minutes and 10 seconds now. But I still want to make it a 3-minute workout. It's really, I should just show you one rep. This is the only thing you have to do once a day. Once a day. 30 repetitions of this. You blow out. And then blow out. And you do that 30 times. Now, these come with all different resistance caps. This is 1 millimeter. Look how tiny this thing is. In the beginning, this is to give you an idea. And you can check this out on my Facebook page, so you know I'm not lying. You can go on my Facebook page. You can go all the way back to 2018 when I started doing the O2 trainer. I did it with hole number 11. This is 14. I did it with hole number 11, which has a hole 4 millimeter in. It took me 3 minutes and 45 seconds to complete. And you can see those times on Facebook. 2 months ago or so, just for fun, I put that same cap on there just to see how fast I could do it now. 1 minute and 5 seconds. So I went from 3 minutes 45 to 1 minute 5 seconds. It's really working, guys. If you buy it for your asthma is not gone after 30 days, I will give you your money back. Go on Bas Rutten's O2 Boot Camp. That's a Facebook page. See if you can become a member from it, because that's where a lot of O2 trainer users are, and then you can read their statements. You know that I'm not lying. Of course it's a plug, and you say, oh, I would like to talk about it. But I'm saying this because if this thing would have been around when I was competing, 100% I would have had it. I have 12 or 18 published medical journals to back up the claims that I do. Published medical journal, so that you know, means it's clinically proven. I always talk about this, right? You always hear me, if a product says it's clinically tested, don't buy the product. Because if it would have been proven, it would have said clinically proven. Clinically tested is just to put the word clinically in there. And a lot of people who don't think, they say, oh, it's clinically tested. It's clinically, it has to be good. No, it's not. What was the result of that test? You see what I mean? If it says clinically proven, now with the O2 trainer, all the results are clinically proven because they're on a published medical website, .org, publishedmed.org, I think it is. And you can mess around. That's the government doing it. It needs to be good or bad. And this is good. So it really works. And for the fighters, I will do it twice a day for 6 weeks. You're going to take care of all the lactic acid in your core. And that's a big one, guys, because the reason why we're getting tired is that our muscles around our lungs are getting thick. They get blown up with core defense. Every time when you sprawl and you work your core, your muscles start pumping, just like your biceps do when you do bicep exercises. Now, the muscles not only pump out to the front, they pump also to the inside. And behind those lungs, behind that space, are your lungs. Now, if the space for your lungs becomes more compact, well, you cannot completely fill them back up. So all these muscles get tight between your ribs, the intercostal muscles, they call those, also used for breathing. Once they get tired and build up with lactic acid, you can't expand as much. That's why you don't want to do power training, like chest training, like 2 or 3 days before the fight. You want to stay away from power training. You want to keep those muscles as loose as you can. Once these muscles are completely loose, which happens, and we have the tests for that, if you do it twice a day for 6 weeks, after 6 weeks you can maintain it by once a day. You take care of all that. That will do more for you than an illegal drug EPO. That's how powerful that is. People have no clue what happens if you don't build up lactic acid in your core. That's the goals to success. Trust me.
Mm-hmm. And even someone else asked, like, can a non-fighter do that? Like, yeah, like I'm not a professional fighter, and I do it too. Look
how thick these muscles are getting, the top. Mm-hmm. This all from the side. These are from the muscles. These are from the breathing in. I can literally feel it. And the exercise while you're doing it like this, a lot of people don't know. Breathing is done with your chest, with your back muscles, side muscles, and the front muscles. The more you can expand, that's how they rip open the lungs. The lungs don't do anything. You know how you can test that? Blow out, keep your nose closed, and try to expand your belly or your chest. You can't. So the reason your chest expands is because you fill them up, you open them up to fill them up with air. They don't grow because you put air in them. It's the other way around. You pull air in them by expanding your chest. And with the O2 trainer, you train the outside muscles of your chest. The numbers that they were with me, when they measured my chest expansion, 2 doctors now said they never saw any numbers like that. I just blew every record. They said they've never seen anything like it. So I'm going to stop now, otherwise it's way too much for it.
Prediction on Tony versus Khabib, and what technique would you use against Khabib?
Well, I think the blueprint to success is having a lot of stamina. And since Tony has an incredible, he's known, he could probably be the best, most conditioned athlete we have in mixed martial arts. If you have that power, you keep on pushing. What do I always say in my classes? There's no such thing as having enough stamina. There's no such thing. You never have enough. If you're for your first fights, I would focus only on stamina. Yeah, of course, when you're fighting as well, but once you decide you're going to fight, that means that you get the basics under control, right? But stamina is the number one goal. Everything that you do here in a nice, friendly environment is going to be cut in half under stress with all adrenaline and with your friends and family members screaming at you. You're going to be a complete different guy. All the nice technical stuff you do in the gym, try to do that under pressure. That's a whole different ballgame. My first fight, we were talking about that last week. I don't remember. I remember I won, but I was just hitting something. A silhouette. I always say, I brought it even further. I think when I dropped it with a back kick, right? If they at that moment, they would have blindfolded me and they would put in 3 other guys, also in shorts. And then say, turn around and say, what guy were you fighting? I don't think I knew who I was fighting.
That's funny.
That's how blind you are. You're just hitting a face. You don't hit the jaw, not the nose, not, you're just hitting a body. You don't go for the solar plexus, liver, or a spleen. No, you just hit whatever you can hit. But like everything else in life, you do it more. You start getting used to it. And once you get used to it, you become calmer. And once you become calmer, now you can start flourishing. The biggest trick for any fighter is to bring the game from the gym to the fight. If you can do that, the same mentality, you're going to be a great fighter. But it's a hard thing to do.
And then lots of questions too on how do you build stamina? How did you build stamina?
I like these crazy drills. When I did it in the early days already, I do these 1 minute drills, 1 minute kicking drills, or punching drills. So for instance, I take a combination: cross hook, cross, break, cross hook, cross liver. Now it goes like this: down, 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 down. Ta-ta-tam, ta-ta-ta-tam. And every punch I throw is as hard as I can. So what I'm doing is I set him up with a cross hook cross, boom. Let him get used to that combination. And now when he's used to it and defending it, that's when I add the liver shot. And I do this pretty much with everything. A left body straight to the body and the gun, and then suddenly I go body head. Or a left hook and a right straight to the body. And I let him get used to that. And suddenly when they start blocking my right straight, that's when I add a left hook. So 2 punches, and then the next punches are 3 punches. Or for instance, 3 hooks to the body, boom. And then I do 3 hooks to the body, keep looking down, I give a high hook. Now those combinations that you like yourself, you can use. I take 8 of them, 8 combinations, and then I repeat it 1 time. So it's not 16, I stop at 15. 1 minute rounds, everything as hard as you can. You're going to get really freaking tired. Now, what you're doing now is that if you start, like, say, 10 weeks out before a fight, you start by that, doing 1 minute rounds. Once you feel good with 15 1 minute rounds, you're going to go to 1 minute 5 seconds. So you're going to start working time, you increase it 5 seconds, and you take away 5 seconds from your resting time. So 55 seconds rest. Week later, you go to 1 minute and 10, 50 seconds rest. 1 minute 15, 45 seconds. You see what I'm doing, right? Slowly but surely. This way you give your body time to adjust to putting out a lot of output. I'm sure you can do 15 if you really push it, 1.5 minute rounds. But guess what? You're going to do this for 2 weeks, you're going to overtrain, and that is it. But if you do it like I do 10 weeks before, and every time you increase by simply just 5 seconds, now suddenly in like 8 weeks or so, you can do 15 1.5 minute rounds, full power, with only 30 seconds rest. What is that going to do for you? Well, how many times you see a boxer, kickboxer, mixed martial artist unload on his opponent for simply 15 or 20 seconds. And if he can't put him away, they run out of gas. That's 20 seconds. Now you train your body to do that 15 times, 1.5 minutes. Full blast. I love that drill. Another one that I like a lot is the incline run, incline sprints. I would do that after a workout. Also, by the way, those 15 rounds, I would do that after a regular workout. Don't do it too many times because it's going to really burn. The incline, what I do, I use the old treadmill, so to say. What I mean with that is they only go up to 15%. Nowadays, you have treadmills, they go up to 30, 35 even, Yeah. I would have used that treadmill for sure. I would have started increasing the incline as well. But this is what I do. I start running. I run like 30 miles an hour for 10 minutes. That's what I used to do as a warm-up. That's the warm-up. Then I start stretching because now the leg attack is going to come. While I'm stretching, I put the incline all the way up. I go back to 9 miles an hour. You can do this with 8, 7, 6 miles an hour. I found for me, 9 miles an hour, I build up less lactic acid than when I go slower. So for me, faster works better. And then what I do, I let the treadmill roll in between my legs, and I'm looking at the clock, and I jump on for 45 seconds, and I jump off for 30 seconds. Jump on for 45 seconds, jump off for 30 seconds. Now, after the first 2-3 rounds, you're going to laugh. You're going to say that I'm an idiot because it's not hard at all. True, first 3 are not so hard. But then it starts. The round number 4 comes, and 5. And suddenly your stamina is going to go whop, straight down. Now, once that happens, I would go flip it. So as soon as you realize you can't do 45 seconds anymore, do 30 seconds with 45 seconds rest. Now, keep the 30 seconds. But if you can't recoup anymore with the 45 seconds rest, make it a minute rest. Don't worry, but keep the 30 seconds incline and write everything down. Because if you write everything down, then the next week you can say, okay, I did 7 rounds of 45 seconds. The last 3 I did it. Okay, this week I'm going to do 8. Just 1 round more. Build up. We fighters, we want things fast, you know. It's like we want immediate satisfaction, you know. And that's a wrong thing to do. Build up slow. Make it a journey. Don't make it a race. That's what Dwayne Ludwig always said, and I love that expression. Go slowly but surely, increments, go harder and harder. Now, if you have a fight on 2 weeks' notice, of course you can't do this. You're going to have to go balls out, so to say, and train really hard. But if you have time, slowly but surely. I would start doing Thai pads, 2-minute rounds. People will look at me at my 2-minute round, but I would do 10 of them. Full blast, as hard as I could. And then slowly but surely, I go to 2.5 minutes the next week. And I go to 3 minutes the next week. Every time, then I add 30 seconds every time. And suddenly, I go to 6-minute rounds. So I go from 2-minute rounds. Every week, I increase by half a minute. And suddenly, before fight time, I will do 7 6-minute rounds. Everything is hard. My first punches and kicks are hard as my last punches and kicks. That's how I want you to do. I don't, with focus mitts and Thai pads, I go 100%. I never go jab, jab, boom, jab, jab, boom. Everything is hard. Every single thing I throw is hard. Because if you can do 7 6-minute rounds, full power, and you're going to have to fight only 5 5-minute rounds, you're going to be just fine. Trust me on that one.
What's your fist position in your punches?
My fist position is this. And sometimes when it naturally comes, I let it rotate. I don't like to focus on the rotate. And the reason is, if you tell people to rotate, they start doing it here already. And I see their arm move. Many times, I'm just looking at the chest of my opponent. If I see the arm move, it's already a punch coming. I can tell when the punch is going to come. Another thing that with it is, imagine, I did this last week, right? I can do this on here. Mm-hmm. So imagine she holds her head really tight here. Both of those. Now look, it's just stationary. I'm just making an example. If I bring my elbow up, it kind of ricochets already to the side. I'm going to miss her. You see, because I'm hitting in an angle. I can't turn there, but look what I'm doing. If I bring my elbow down, I'll go straight through the defense. I need less space to penetrate through, because otherwise it might already deflect. My hands were here. If she gives me a right straight punch, this is literally what I'm doing. It's already missing me. You see, and look at the movement I had to make. This is the only move I had to make. That's almost nothing. If I do this while I'm holding my hands here, now I have to make a large move in order to let her miss me. And this is way too late. It becomes very uncomfortable, because now there's room for mistakes. And if there's room for mistakes, trust me, you're going to make the mistake. The room for mistake, a buddy of mine, Amir Peretz, he explained that one time really good. He says, imagine you have a plank, 1 foot wide and 20 feet long. And you put it on the floor here, you have to walk over it. That's pretty simple. Right? In the middle, you make a pirouette. Easy. You can probably do a handstand on it, right? Because it's on the floor. Now put that same plank in between 2 buildings, 10 stories up. Now do the same. That's what I talk about, cause and effect. Now you make a mistake, you're dead. You see? And in fighting, you make a mistake, you get knocked out. See, so for me, having my hands here last moment, I don't get it. I'm doing here. Because now a straight punch, I literally move this. That's only if she gives me a left. Look how much I have to move. Nothing. It's already missing me, see? Just push it a little bit to the side. And don't worry, having your hands here, you're still going to have a lot of power. And maybe not in the first one, but the second one is going to be loaded up again. So that's going to be just fine. 10 rounds of 45 seconds on the treadmill, that was always my goal. And 30 seconds rest. It's hard.
Playing off that, how do you create power in your right straight and right hook? He's assuming you're orthodox.
Yeah. Okay. So right straight, pushing off on the back foot. You know, I just explained that when I was standing over there. On one leg, you can't put your body weight in there. Physically impossible. Put your back foot on the floor, push off on the back foot. That's good for your right, and it's really good for your left as well. Now, also, if you don't blade, if you stand square, like I like to stand, because Tyson did that, and Roman Decker's pretty much also, I brought a little bit more square like Mike Tyson, because I really like that. Now you can rotate your upper body as well. So now, when I push off on my back leg and I rotate my upper body, now suddenly you have a left straight punch, not a jab. And like I said last week, if somebody jabs me, I'll eat the jab. I'll take the jab and I trade it for a straight or an overhand. That's what I do. But if somebody stands in front of me, like Mike Tyson with a square stance, and he starts firing those lefts, I can't take them. I'm going to have to block them. I'm busy with it. That's my whole concept about fighting. That's why I do everything hard. If I give you 3 hard body shots, your defense has to go down. Now, if I just do this as a distraction, they don't respect the power. They're not going to put their hands down. If I hit as hard as I can on the defense, people, trust me, they will bring their hands down because they feel the power and they know that if they don't block it, they're going to get knocked out to the body. And once they start blocking, that's when I come with headshots. Kicking, same thing. I kick somebody with a roundhouse kick. If I see they're going to block, I don't care. I kick as hard as I can on the defense. What does that do? Yeah, well, what it does is showing your opponent that you don't care, and he's going to feel your power. And once he feels that power, he's going to realize, oh shit, if I do not block that kick, if I don't see it, now it's going to hurt me. You see what I'm doing? I'm planting seeds in his head. And now he starts being afraid of my right kick. Okay, let's start doing it with my left kick now. Boom, as hard as you can, even if it's on the defense. Now he's afraid of your left kick. Now do it with the hands. Oh, he blocks full this. Full. Just hit as hard as you can on the hand. That guy's going to feel your power. You make him afraid of everything. Talking about that, by the way, that's a good. It's not a good question. I'm coming up with it right myself now. A lot of people block a left hook like this, right? That's like, to me, is the dumbest thing there is. Because what happens is, as soon as somebody, if I give somebody a left hook, a regular fighter, if you give somebody a left hook and he sees their block, they automatically already take the power of the punch. I don't. You do this to me, I hit as hard as I can on your hand. You think that's not going to do damage? You think if I tape a focus mitt to my face right now and ask Dana to hit me in the head, you don't think I'm going to feel that? Because I made my head one with the focus mitt. If I put a helmet on somebody and I kick him in the head, you think he's going to go down? Yeah, he might not get cut, but he's going to go down and go straight through. So putting your hand against your head is the dumbest thing there is. It's like blocking a knee like this against your body. It'll go straight through. You want to block away from your body. You want to stop it. Don't go through. Now, what I'm saying now is that if you next time you're sparring and somebody blocks a left hook like this, hit him as hard as you can on the defense. Watch their reaction, what happens. They're going to feel it. Now they're going to be afraid from your left hook, and that's when you go, boom, he load up again, look him dead in the eye, and then you go for the liver shot. That's one of my favorite things to do, look it high, punching low, or the other way around, of course. That was perfect. A lot of power. So don't block like this. You'll see me always, I'm letting you miss, and if I block outside blocks. I think they're more effective. Also, when I do this, that's a last-minute resort. It's a panic mode. It's like, oh shit, boom, and then I close the distance right away so they can't hit me anymore.
If it's a really hard head kick, how do you block that?
Head kick, you have to keep the feet away. What I do with a head kick, like for instance a Mirko Cro Cup, my block will be there. Like this is really weird what I'm saying right now, but I try to block the kick there. Why? Because the end of his kick, that's where he will generate the most power. That's where it picks up the speed and power. So I'm blocking far away. So instead of him being able to kick here, suddenly I'm stopping him here already. So this way is not a lot of power, and you can stop him with one or two hands, as long as you go towards it. Last week I was talking about blocking knees, right? What did I say? If she grabs me with knees. This is the easiest block there is, and it's really good for MMA actually, because then they can jump guard. So if she knees me, a lot of people block here, but she can still build up power. I block here. I just don't let her take up right away. No, you cannot stay in this position. You block, boom, body shot, and boom, you come with an uppercut. You start, but if you stop him from taking off, it's like stopping somebody with a punch here. It can't take off. There's no power in there. So the earlier you block knees, the better it is. And that's why you have to push away. That's why you don't want to block like this, because they're going to go straight through, hold it here, but preferably I do this with my hands, because many times when they go for a guillotine, a lot of people say, oh, defend the guillotine. Don't defend the guillotine. I had this whole conversation online one time, and these people said I was stupid because first I have to defend the guillotine choke. That's complete BS. Not. You have to make sure that that person in front of you, who has you with the guillotine, doesn't jump guard. Because if that person is able to jump guard, he's going to get you. Don't believe that? Renzo Gracie versus Pat Miletich. Gets caught in the guillotine. Pat starts defending the choke. Renzo Gracie jumps guard. Wins with a guillotine choke. Now, if Pat would have not just the body positioning, look, get me in a guillotine choke. This is what I do. I go to the opposite way. So if Dana grabs me, from the front.
Oh, right. Right.
So what I'm doing, I'm pushing my head up and I'm moving to this side. Now I'm going higher than she can pull up. So she can't pull up anymore. Another great thing, keep it like that, what you can do is simply put this arm over her. She cannot generate any power. But what I like to do is be here, because if she would jump guard, I'm going to be screwed. But if I don't let her jump guard, you see, I simply control, she can't. And then I start moving to the side, I bring my head up, I'm looking up. Now the pressure is off, she can pull whatever she wants. There's nothing there. Now the only problem you have, if you have a guy like Sammy Shield, who's literally 7'1", as a tall guy, he can keep pulling up. You see, so then you're going to have to right away move to the side, take him down, end up a side mount. That's what I would do then. But then you don't want to be, you keep standing, of course. But first, just look up, take the pressure off, and move to the opposite side. And then you will feel right away the pressure is going to be off your throat.
If you talk a lot about Mike Tyson, can you use a bob and weave in like traditional boxing and the footwork of that? Can you use that in MMA?
No. It's a dangerous thing to do in MMA. My one thing that I never understood from Mike Tyson was he had his hands here against his chin, and he would do this a lot. Watch him fight. This will be like a thing, like you see me doing this a lot always when I shake my shoulders. I do that to tell my mind that my muscles are relaxed. Every time when you see me doing this, I feel my muscles go brrr. That's just me checking if I'm completely relaxed every time. And Mike Tyson, one of these things, he would do this. Well, at this moment, if I give him a full right straight, there's nothing he can do. I'll go straight through the defense. Well, hold your hands like this and see how much power you have. That's why we hold the focus mitts like this. That's why we block kicks like this and not like that, because you're going to get hit in the face. You want to push it out. Now, I understand why Mike could do this, because he had great hand movement, right? He was bobbing and stepping. But bobbing and weaving is really good in boxing, but once their knees allowed, it's a very dangerous thing to do. If I give a left hook and throw right away a knee, while he's ducking, now he's going to get kneed in the face. So yeah, that kind of bobbing and weaving, I wouldn't do in MMA. You can do it once here and there, of course, that's always good, but doing it every single time, now you're telling your opponent what you're going to do, and they can actually work on that. But if you just do it here and there, of course, it's always good. But yeah, Mike was a whole different animal. He has great, his hand movement was just bizarre, and that's why he got away with simply doing this.
Just so you guys know too, I'm taking notes of some things, some ideas that we can do for next week. So some of the things like how do we set up switch lever kicks? How do you take a liver shot? Those are things I think we can get into next week too.
The liver kick, I will show you a switch kick from hell. I mean, we have some really good guys here who came in, and when I showed them that last little twitch, what a lot of people don't do, they were all like, holy crap, Now suddenly they start feeling the shin bones when they kick it back. You go, my God, I got so much more power. And it's a little tiny simple trick. She wrote it down. We're going to probably do it on Monday already then.
Yeah. We'll go back through and look at all these so we can address some of those too. Flexibility, a couple questions. Yes, I'm doing the flexibility and the stretching tomorrow. And we'll talk about how to get more flexible there. Bas, what's the best advice you ever received, and can you share it with our people?
Well, I received it, I think, from God. No, just taking constructive criticism. Be open to criticism. Because in the beginning I didn't, because as a fighter you have an ego, you think everything you do is the best way, but it's not. It's not. There's always best. And even when you believe that, like when I go to seminars, I will tell people, I'm going to do it like this. And I think this is the very best way to do it. If any of you believe that it's not the best way, please speak up. Because if you do enhance it and make it better, I'm going to use your technique, and I will actually give you props. You'll see me when I'm teaching. I learned this from him, this from this fighter, this from this fighter. I always give props to people who show me certain techniques. So,
That's good. Yeah.
Taking constructive criticism. And you don't want to do that as a fighter, like I said, because at the beginning, you think you're doing it always better. I had a fighter one time who was kicking really hard to the body. And it looked like he was kicking really hard, but at the end of his kick, the power was off, right? And I thought, I knew right away what it was. So then we had one inside MMA. I don't want to mention his name. And I say, hey, listen, I saw you kick. Can I ask you a question? Do you guys in your gym have really thick kicking shields? And he said, yes. That was the mistake. And I knew that. Or he has a trainer who holds the focus mitts there or the Thai pads there, far away. So what happens is this. If I, here, this side. If I'm doing constantly, I bring the kick, the shields here. You have to understand that the shields are here. And my real body is here. So if I constantly jab the kicks, his focus is going to be on delivering a lot of power on this spot. Now, I just showed you at the opening, when I step to the side, that the power is gone. That means without the shield, automatically, because he's been doing this a lot, his real power is going to be here. So then at the end of the kick, there's no more power. So what you always have to look out for that. This is, I always say false sense of distance. We talk about this in the class a lot. For instance, this, I will show it to you. That's a better way. So, a 2 and a liver shot. 1, 2, no, the shot, no, with a shot, yeah. So if I give a 2 and a liver shot, right, on her hands, so 1, 2, the liver is far away. Her face is not here. Her real face is there. So I have a false sense of distance right now. So sometimes when I do a 1, 2, and I go for a liver shot, you see these guys' back foot is moving when they make the liver shot. Well, if that back foot is moving, you can't put your body weight into the punch. You can still knock him out if you have a strong arm punch. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to punch with power, you have both feet need to be on the ground. So always know that in a real fight, if I hit her face, see, now I'm perfect for the liver shot. Now I got a great distance for that. But if the hands are, her face is suddenly here, now I'm too far away, I start to reach. Always take that in consideration. That's why I tell my guys to try to block in front of your face, closer to your face, and in front of your face. This is another one. These are two different. If I give right, straight, left hook, you do to me. Right, straight, left hook. So now the power, she's focusing on the power here at the end, right? How can we do that so they can see from the back? From here. Maybe, yeah. You see, so my hand is here. So now I feed her two faces. This is one partner, and there's another one. Okay, so now her focus is going to be constantly to deliver a lot of power here, right? Hit a few times. That's where the power is going to be. So now she's also not going to load up. So when I'm now suddenly in a fight, I'm here. How is she going to generate power? She can. She can generate power. So what I do, for instance, if somebody doesn't load up the left hook, I become the annoying coach. I'm doing, for instance, I give a right, straight, left hook. I do this. You see what I'm doing? I bring the hand close to there. Now, for her to still generate power now, she's going to have to rotate more, you see, because I brought the target closer to her. But that's a real face. I'm going to be here. Now she's got power. But if she's not used to it and she's used to put power here, see, there's no power in that punch right now. All these little things make such a big difference. Inches is more power, you know. So always make sure you connect at the end of your punch, and preferably, if you. That's why when I hold focus mitts, I have this big, thick body pad on. Because that body pad and the hands here, because if the face is here and the body, real body is here, that's not good. But if I put a thick focus mitt on, a body pad, now I bring it up to real level, so to say, more lifelike. Mm-hmm. Distance is everything.
Okay, I think we should do a little bit of rapid fire questions. I kind of took some that are
okay.
They can have a short answer because we're at 10:58.
Okay.
Did you do more offense or defense?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll mix it up. But I really like countering. I like to find holes in people when they punch. And you'll see me doing that a lot. How do I do it? You always see my having my hands here or here. But I will never give you an option. Here I give you an option if you're going to hit my head or my body. If I'm here, I'm pretty sure you're going to go for my head. If I'm here, I'm pretty sure you're going to go for my body. You see? So if I bring my hands here, that means please kick me to the body. Because I'm going to grab that kick, I'll do something with it. If I have my hands here, that means please hit me in the face. So that's how you can bait your opponent. That's what you do at the beginning of a fight. When you find out the reach of your opponent, you know, every time when they hit, in the beginning you let them hit this far away. And then every time you come a little bit closer. And now, if you're just 1 inch outside the reach of your opponent, well, you only have to move 1 inch back and come forward again in order to hit him. But that's distance. That's the hardest one there is. There's an example I can give. Imagine you fight a guy like John Jones. I'm calling John Jones because he's got an incredible reach. I think it's 86. I mean, it's 11 inches more than me. I get 75. That's crazy. That's a crazy long arms. How can you, if you don't have a sparring partner with long hands like that, how are you going to prepare? You know what I would do? This sounds really stupid. I get a headgear and I make it really thick, like this thick. Because now I give him that space. You see, now I give him longer hands because my headgear is here. And I'm going to ask all my sparring partners, of course, to hit me to the front of the head, not to my jaw. But this way, I can get used to a long reach because I give him more reach now. Because now suddenly I bring my target, my face, closer to him. You see, so that's how you can overcome that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Did you train your neck when you were training?
Yeah, I did these neck bridges. That's what I always used to do. Just roll in the back of my head, laying flat. I can't do it anymore. I got 4 fusions here and 4 fusions there. So just stand on your head and then just roll back and forth, back and forth. I never did the side rolls. I only did those. So yeah, and we clinched a lot. You know, you automatically get a stronger neck from clinching a lot.
Yeah. I usually feel my neck the day.
The swings.
Is it wrong to be a southpaw if you're right-handed?
No, it's great. Sammy Shield is the only four times K1 champion there is. And Sammy Shield is actually, he's orthodox, but he fights southpaw. So it's a smart thing to do.
Okay.
You know?
Who was your toughest opponent?
The toughest one was I had to go Funaki because I had to knock him down 5 times. So the final time I literally grabbed him by his hair and I kneed him in the face as hard as I could. That's when he stayed down. But I remember after the fight, like you see my tattoos, well, my palms were the colors of my tattoos. Oh. And my knees also. I really did some damage, but every time when the audience started chanting, Funaki, Funaki, he got up again. I go, stop shouting. Because I was getting tired. I was really giving everything I had.
Have you ever lost a street fight?
No, I've never lost a street fight.
Nice. If you could fight anyone, I guess I'm assuming nowadays, who would you fight? I mean, like if you were in your prime, but anyone from now is how I've read that.
Yeah, I would, for me, it's like going after the greats, like Anderson Silva in his prime, like Adesanya, and, I'm a big fan of his as well. I would love to fight guys like that, see what I can do striking-wise against them, because I'm so mesmerized with their technique and their baits and the things that they do. Can I handle myself against a fighter like that? That's why I was challenging Rickson Gracie. Everybody thought it was a personal thing. No, Rickson, I've seen him roll. He's one of the most phenomenal guys I've ever seen roll. And I was just wondering what if my grappling can hold up against Rickson. Oh, Bas, but he's a multiple world champion. Yeah, but I'm a different animal. I don't grapple according to rules. He never faced anybody like me. I have different setups, different movements, because I never had a coach. And that can trick somebody. And you only have to make one mistake. You can get a guy like that. But, chances I'm going to lose in the grappling department, very high with freaking Rickson Gracie. And just for me to test that out, I said, I would love to see if I can fight him. Just to see if I can stay out of the submissions. So it was never a disrespect thing. It's only respect.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to do more movies?
Yeah, there was one movie I was going to do in this March, but it's postponed, not because of the COVID-19, because another movie came in between, and that's going to be now next year, 2021. I hope I'm still going to be in it, because that will be a good part for me. I cannot say, but it's a number 2 of something, and the first one did really well.
Did you teach, in Here Comes the Boom, did you teach Kevin James MMA?
Yeah, I taught Kevin James 22 years ago. Okay. Yeah, I started training him. He was one of the first people I met actually in America, because he used to watch my fights from Japan. And when he found out I was there, that was the first season of King of Queens. Oh, wow. He lived in a 1-bedroom apartment that he shared with his brother. Nice. Yeah, and now look at him now, right?
How did you meet him?
Well, his management called me and they said, hey, he would love to meet you and train with you. So I started training with him. Okay. And I remember, you can ask my wife, it's 100% truth. When I came back, my wife says, "And I go, he's a big guy, but boy, he's good." If I would tell Kevin, he hates it when I say this, but hey, it is what it is. Because don't you think I'm a fighter? I said, no, Kevin, I'm just talking about technique. His technique, if he does something wrong and I tell him it's wrong, you have to do it this way or such a way, he will do that immediately. He's adapted. Oh, wow. Yeah, his eye-hand coordination is really high. He actually beat Tiger Woods one time in golf. Now, I have to say something else. Tiger was only allowed to use one club. And, of course, Kevin could But Kevin's golf game, his hand-eye coordination is really good. Yeah, driving cars, everything. Yeah, he's a really remarkable athlete. Well, you saw in Here Comes the Boom when he's working with Mark Della Grotta.
Yeah.
You know, the way he moves. That's not sped up. That's nothing. That is Kevin really doing it. Like even the professional fighters go like, what the heck, dude? He's got a really great technique. And he always tells me, don't say that because the people think I can't fight, and I can't fight, you know? I said, but okay, I say that right now, so there you have it, Kevin. I saved you.
He's humble. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, no, he's a really good guy, man. That's one of the best guys I know.
Okay, let's make this the last one since it's 11:04. Does your O2 trainer ship to the UK?
Yes, actually, you can go to o2trainer.eu, and then the shipping is going to be less painful, so to say, because you buy right from Holland, and we're pretty much neighbors. We got a little bit of water in between us. That's it. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go with that. We will go back through the questions, and we'll incorporate some of the questions into next week. I will have recovery for tomorrow. Ooh, that reminds me. If you guys have any sort of ball for tomorrow, tennis ball, lacrosse ball, even like a softball or a baseball could help. Have that with you. And if you have extra, duct tape them together. And it can make a little, I think I forgot mine, but you can duct tape them together and then also have a separate one. Look at this guy.
Looks like
Look at this guy.
If you put them together, yeah.
Don't duct tape those ones together.
That is so funny.
Figures, right?
Yeah,
Figures.
that's a guy thing. We always go, that's what she said. That expression, I use that so much in our home with the kids every time they're dying because I say it at the worst moments. You know?
Say it in English or in Dutch?
No, in English. That's what she said. Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. You can do this pretty much with everything. So, yeah. All right, guys.
Anything else?
Very good. No, stay healthy, be healthy outside, take criticism, constructive criticism. Always listen to people, what they say. Never have an ego to steer away from that. Teach yourself to do whatever you tell yourself to do. That was my biggest strength always. So if I tell you I'm going to do 12 rounds on the back, I'm going to do 12 rounds on the back. If I die at 9 months, I'm going to do 12 rounds on the back. Because if I don't, I can look at myself in the mirror literally when I brush my teeth. I see a failure because I didn't do the 12 rounds. And I'm really hard on myself. But it works really well for fighting. You know, you have to unlearn that once you stop fighting because I try to do that with everything. Nowadays, when I walk up the stairs and my kids are walking up the stairs, somehow I still want to be the first one who hits the top. I mean, I'm 55 years old. I still don't learn. You know, my kids know this. Of course, they start. I have these really weird things. If people clap, I will always be the last person that claps. And my kids sometimes mess with me. Because like we're somewhere at an event and everybody's clapping. And when everybody stops clapping, I do one more clap. But then if my daughters are there, they do that too. And now it's going to go back and forth the whole time. Yeah, I'm very weird like that. Once I have it in my mind. I used to be way weirder. I used to be in the car. And then suddenly I say, okay, I'm going to hold my breath for 2 months. Mm-hmm. And I would look at the little signs, right? I go, and now there's a traffic jam. I go, you know, I will be the knucklehead who goes over the safety lane past the people because otherwise I can't do my 2 minutes of breath. Yeah, that was a bad one.
Gosh.
That's a bad.
Yeah, that's a bad one. But I totally like your take criticism, and because with everything, you know, I love to research stuff. And the more I know and the more I learn, the more I don't know, the more there is out. Like just always being a student of learning. Because as soon as you think you know it all, and it's the same thing you said. You know, I'm not a fighter, but as soon as you think you know it all, you're dead. Like
you're never good.
No one knows it all.
Yeah.
Someone is always going to know more than you. And so yeah.
Yeah, and if for the rest, I would say take color of skin, take that out. Take out sexual orientation, doesn't matter. What religion, what you have, it doesn't matter. I always say this, because this is really prominent right now going on here in America. You have that also in Holland. For instance, if I do an interview with a white person, and I ask him how much is 8 + 8, and he says 15, I can say he's wrong. But if he will be black, now suddenly I'm a racist. And I go, whoa, guys, he was wrong. So always look at that, you know, because it's so crazy right now that you can't say certain things. It's yes or it's wrong, you know, or not. So one of the two. If they're wrong, they're wrong. It doesn't matter what color, what anything. It doesn't matter. You know, they're wrong. So please always do that. And when you listen to people, both are bickering. Always hear two sides of the story, you know. And most of the time when you hear both and they're very close, you're going to say, hey, listen, you're telling me this, you're telling me this. but never base your opinion on one person, even if that person is your friend or family member, because everybody can be wrong. You know, people, how they receive information is they just hear it. How do you hear the news? Is somebody telling you on the news? Well, if that person is lying or that, well, now you have wrong information. That happens with everything. You know, so always listen to two people. That's a big one as well, and especially in fighting, you know, because you want to make sure that the technique you are doing is the perfect technique. So that translates to everything in life. Hi. Okay. Osu. And again, one more time. Osu. O-S-U. That's how you spell it. O-S-U. 2 words. Oshi means push, and shinobu means endure. And those 2 words together, Oshi and Shinobu, is Osu. That's where the word comes from. 2 Japanese words together. So not O-S-S, O-S-U. Now let's do it again.
Okay.
Osu. Take care. Bye.
See you guys tomorrow.
Hi. Oh yeah, don't forget, Dana's going to stretch the crap out of you.